Good morning from wherever you're tuning in from. This is Queen's Curry Kitchen from New York, Queens, New York, a little tiny borough with a lot of personality because we have nationalities from all over the world. I am Chef Nupur and I make curry in my Queen's Kitchen, and my brand is called Queen's Curry Kitchen. Today is Tuesday, and on Tuesday I always try to bring you a recipe that we can make once but eat two ways. And today the recipe that I've chosen actually is not a curry, but it's actually a crepe. So we have different kinds of breads in the Indian culture, and this crepe is pretty much a breakfast staple. Depending on whatever region you're traveling, there is some kind of a bread that's made with batter instead of dough, and in the local North Indian languages it's called chilla. So without wasting any further time, let me jump right into the video. It's a gloomy day here in New York, so this is the perfect day to eat something like this. For this recipe, we are going to need 2 parts of all-purpose flour. We're going to need 1 part of chickpea flour or besan. In Indian languages, it's called besan. If you go to the Indian grocery store, it's sold as besan, B-E-S-A-N. Bob's Red Mill also does a garbanzo flour or a chickpea flour, and you can buy either one of those. Those work really well. We will make a batter to which we will add 1 shallot. You can do a little bit less or a little bit more. Onions I find are a little too intense, and I'm not a fan, so I do shallots instead. They're a little milder in flavor. We will also add cilantro, some Himalayan pink salt, and if you're a lover of heat, which I'm not, you can certainly add red pepper flakes. So we are going to take that. We will add water very slowly and make a batter that's kind of almost like a running consistency. The batter should look somewhat like lotion, like the lotion that you put on your face. So that's what the batter consistency looks like. There you go. So you should be able to pour it nicely. I'm also using a non-stick pan. I'm going to be making the oil-free version, but if you do oil, by all means, you can certainly add a few spritzes. It'll just change the cooking time, and it'll affect the taste a little bit, but I just love the oil-free version, so I won't be using any oil. Just make sure you have a very good non-stick pan in order to do that. The other option is you can use something like this, which is an olive oil spray. I believe it has 0 calories, and it just helps to prevent your food from sticking. So depending on whatever preference is. So once the skillet is nice and hot, we're going to use a ladle that has like a scoop or like a depressed hold so that you can actually pour it. It's just easier to pour and maneuver the batter. I'm gonna bring it right onto the skillet, spread it out. Now you can make them as big or as small as you want. You just have to be able to handle them. If you don't want to use all-purpose flour, you can use buckwheat flour, you can use oat flour. There's just so many options now. And the good thing with making a crepe is that it's not salt, Himalayan pink salt, and there is no oil in this. I'm just sauteing it, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a splash of water to pick up the full caramelization that's happening. And that's going to give a nice color to my mushrooms. So I'm going to be making this 2 ways, means that I will use this just as is, and I will make a second version in which I will be filling in the mushrooms and doing it as a wrap. Okay, so this is a great alternative if you have a family where half the people like eggs and half the people don't like eggs. This is a great alternative. And a lot of, not the Himalayan pink salt, but the Indian black salt, which is also called kala namak, and they like to use that because it really has that sulfur taste that eggs have, and it makes a phenomenal substitute for an omelet. So you can actually make these crepes ahead of time. You can stick them in the fridge. Unfortunately, the batter doesn't do really well in the fridge, and the consistency changes, and it doesn't taste as good because I think the onions release a lot of moisture. But you can certainly make these crepes ahead of time, and you can stick them in the fridge, and whenever you feel like you have to run out quickly or you don't have time, you can either use it as a base for a wrap, or you can just eat it by itself. Let me show you the accompaniment that I have going. I also have some tea that I've prepared. And this is your, I'm not using anything exotic. It's good old English breakfast tea. And to this, I have added some grated ginger and some cinnamon powder. Cinnamon, cardamom, and some grated ginger. I'm not going to strain it when I drink it because I'll pretty much chew the ginger. I love it for its taste and also the fact that it has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. So I don't like to waste it. And it's organic ginger, so I don't have to peel it. The mushrooms are pretty much done. The only thing that I added here was salt. If you feel, you can add garlic or whatever brings a smile on your face, just do that. Make it your own, okay? I'm only sharing a technique. You can totally make this your own and see what makes you happy. So at this point, it's like this. If you had used any kind of oil or spray or whatever, any kind of fat, this would have been, the brown spots would have been a little bigger. Let me show you. The brown spots would have been a little bit more pronounced and a little bit more robust looking. But you can always just cook it for a little while longer and still get the same effect without using any oil. Okay. Looks like we are going to get ready to plate real soon. So let me get this out of the way. And I'm going to get a plate ready. The crepes are looking good. I've just turned off the mushrooms. And they are done as well. So I have deglazed the pan and gathered it around so they're nice and dry. Here's my plate. And here's my crepe. Okay, so see, after adding the little bit of the spray that I added, it became, the brown spots become pretty robust. So just make sure it's not raw anywhere and that it's fully cooked. If you'd like to put a cover on it, you can certainly do that. This is a great alternative to eating sweet breakfasts or sweet crepes or, you know, chocolate croissants and calorie-loaded breakfasts. So if you like savory breakfasts or savory brunches like me, then this is a great option. You can certainly team it with like a nice fruit chutney or a fruit preserve, and it gives you that satisfaction of doing the sweet and salty, which is, I think, a great thing that satisfies you for like a mid-afternoon brunch. Okay, so that's my crepe. That's ready. So one way is to eat it just like that, and then the second way to eat it is by piling up the mushrooms. I love mushrooms. I put them in everything pretty much, and they're a really good source of protein. So if you feel like even after your vegan breakfast, you feel kind of drained, you don't feel energetic, and you're vegetarian or vegan, try to add mushrooms to your breakfast in some shape or form. I'm not kidding you, but you will totally see the difference of how different it makes you feel. It makes you feel fuller. Yep, so you could basically just wrap it up like that. It's great for a lunchbox. It's great to eat on the go. And if you want to eat them just like that, you can just pile them up. You can make a bunch of the crepes and bring them to the table. They reheat really well, so there's a lot of options that you can do. I also pop in some fresh cilantro and a squeeze of lemon juice, and that's how I like to eat it with my chai. If you liked this recipe and you want to give it a try, please, I encourage you to try it out. It's really a lot of fun to share new flavors with you. And if you had any questions about what you saw, feel free to send me a message or an email, and I will be happy to answer them for you. My next video, I'm thinking I should do it about going to an actual Indian grocery store and talking about what to pick, what not to pick, because I get a lot of questions from non-Indian people who are wanting to figure out the whole Indian grocery game. It's a little overwhelming when you walk into an Indian grocery store. And if you would like to see a video like that, where I can guide you through the process to just tell you what are the staples that you need to have in your pantry, then definitely let me know. My website is queenscurrykitchen.com, where you can learn more about my cookbook and my line of spices and the meal delivery service that I run in New York City. For anything else, you always know where to find me. Like always, be blissful, have a flavorful life, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for joining me on this Tango Tuesday, where we make it once and eat it twice. This is Chef Nupur saying goodbye, namaste, and God bless you all.